Hey, everybody, welcome to Breakfast All Day. Alonso here with Matt and Christy. It's another week in paradise in our own separate bottle paradises. And Christy was grilling us about our facial hair just now. And yeah, I'm letting mine go for the duration. What the hell? We'll see what happens.
Is it itchy, though? Like, to have that much hair on your face? How does it feel?
Yeah. And look, I condition, and then even when I don't shampoo, like if I get out of the shower while it's still wet, I will put some oil in it. So I am silky and lovely. Like you would feel this on your face, and it would be like the warm caress of a cashmere blanket.
Matt, what about you?
Yeah, I've been using a beard cream that keeps it soft, and I, shampoo it and condition it when I'm in the shower. When you're growing in a beard, it's not itchy. It's itchy for like the first few days, right? Like the first week or so, it'll be itchy. But then after a while, like, sure, it might, like my wife complains that it's itchy to her, but not to me because it's not.
I mean, is the hair on your head itchy, Christy? It's just
No.
But beard hair is a much different.
Yeah, when it's short, it's definitely, it can be spiky and whatever. But once it's at this length, maybe this is hair.
Well, right. I would not tolerate that from either of you boys if you were my husband.
Beard hair is a lot thicker, though. Like the individual hairs are much, much thicker. Gabe will go like 2 weeks or 3 weeks without shaving, and he gets the epically shitty teenage mustache.
Oh, the little
like a quarter-sized patch on the end of his chin, but he's got really gnarly, like he would be able to grow amazing mutton chops. So they'll come in for a couple weeks, and he and I are walking around going like, "It's only teenage mustache." But then he'll have a video call with the girl he likes, and he'll shave.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that eventually this will be long enough that when I do cut it off, I can give it to Locks of Love.
Oh, that's nice of you. There's a big picture altruism going on here. I have no facial hair to share with you guys.
Oh, well.
There you go.
Too bad.
You can always curve your hair.
You should grow some out. It's really fun.
I'm silky smooth at the beach. All right. So, Matt, you've got marquees, I take it. How many do we have a lot today? How many do we have?
We have like a dozen or so. So let me share my screen and we'll get through them. Here we go. Okay. So first up, this is related to a news story. This was at the top of the show. And we'll talk about this news story, but this is the Coolidge Theater. And there's a news story about possibly raising money to help save local theaters. But we can talk about that a little bit later. But the sign says closed temporarily. The show will go on. Thanks to you. Stay safe and healthy. Updates will be on coolidge.org. Our next picture is from Alex Gardiev. Now, I know that this isn't a marquee, but Alex sent us some pictures of the Enzian last week. And so he said, forgot last time when I sent the photos of Enzian for the marquee, he also took some photos for me of their newest addition to their grounds. They call it the Tiki King. So, Alex, thank you. I approve. He also sent this picture of the tiki cocktails, and I had to make sure that I held my mug, which is almost exactly that same mug. It's the similar color and shape. This is a mug from Malibu Rum.
Is that a jalapeno in that cocktail?
That is a jalapeno and looks like mint.
Oof.
I want to throw up just thinking about it.
Oh, I don't know. Those drinks get jalapeno business.
I mean, I guess I trust a mixologist, but yikes.
Yeah, I've had like the spicy martini that have that kind of thing in them. The problem with the spice in the drink, and this is similar to a really spicy Bloody Mary. It's like, well, now I need another drink. Right? It's like,
to cool
right?
Yourself down.
Right. It's like the stories you hear about people who make pot brownies and they have nothing else to eat in the house. Like, they get high and they get the munchies. It's like,
you have to eat more.
Well, shit.
Well, there's these brownies.
Yeah, exactly. Then they get super high. All right. This one was sent in by Christy Lemire. Again, she gave us an update to the St. Rock. The sad news is that it's for sale.
It's sad. Yeah, this cool little place in Hermosa where we had a marquee from them last week showing that they were frozen in time with the bands that they had booked for March and April. Now it says St. Rock is for sale with a phone number. Leave message with contact info. Serious inquiries only. So you guys, if we want to go in on this and like open up our own little event space / trivia / music / we can show movies maybe or whatever, St. Rock is for sale on PCH.
Find Ryan Gosling's character from La La Land. Maybe he'll go out on it.
That's also in Hermosa, the Lighthouse Cafe where he performs.
That assumes that I'm capable of being serious about anything.
Anyway, it's very sad.
Yes, very sad. Okay, next up, these pictures came in from Crystal Garza. They're from Shreveport, Louisiana. And it's the Strand Theater. She writes that she's a big fan of us since she saw the review for Interstellar on What the Flick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this is a beautiful old building. So the marquee says, sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory. That's a Dr. Seuss quote. And then on the side, it says, we will be back.
It's a gorgeous marquee.
Right?
It is. Very ornate.
All right, the next one, these are a couple pictures from Dave Anderson. And Dave writes, in Minnesota, he sent us some pictures before. He says, in Minnesota, we're seeing a tale of two different kinds of theater reopenings. The St. Anthony, Maine on theater in Minneapolis, which is home to the Film Society of Minneapolis-St. Paul, and the main venue for their film fest is running big past blockbusters. So you're seeing $5 tickets for Iron Man, Lord of the Rings, The Matrix, and Fury Road. And then the next picture is the Highland. It just says, will be back soon. It's a beautifully restored Art Deco theater from 1939. They tried the same thing, but they were forced to close again at the end of summer. But hopefully they'll be able to open again.
We have movie theater news in our news section, so we'll talk about all that.
So this came in from Jeff Swanson, another excellent picture from the Parkway in Minneapolis.
They are amazing.
And this one is, it says, we need to talk about Karen. Fuck yeah, we do.
I really want to see if we need to talk about Karen. It sounds like an SNL skit, if they could do an SNL skit.
Then Twitter user who goes by the name of John Hughes, and his Twitter handle is not 16 candles, sent us this faded picture of Wonder Woman 1984. He writes, which, if memory serves, is loosely based on Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Gal Gadot. Waiting for Gal Gadot. Outside the Landmark Cinemas in Brandon, Manitoba. He also goes on to write, Landmark Cinemas in Manitoba are planning to open on July 31st. Sounds like other theaters in the province could open on Saturday if they really wanted to. So that's it for this week. Not a ton. But thanks everybody for sending those in.
Yes.
And let me stop sharing.
We do appreciate them.
They are always cool and always appreciated. Yeah, so we have a lot of movie news, release date news, movie theater news.
Comic-Con is happening after all.
Comic-Con is happening. Virtual Comic-Con is happening. And so a lot of the things that they would have announced, it's not necessarily the news they wanted to announce, but a lot of it is, date changes. And a lot, it's interesting.
And then some not date changes.
Right. It's the whole chicken and egg thing with movie theaters opening or not opening, and then movies moving or not moving. It's very interesting, like the jockeying that's been going on. So AMC this week yet again says they are delaying their opening to mid to late August, right? They're hoping. And so, like, for example, like Bill and Ted 3, they are still hoping to open that theatrically and on VOD on September 1st.
They're
we got it. So we have a Bill and Ted Face the Music trailer that came out this week. It looked very cute. Nostalgia is a powerful thing, and seeing the two of them together again is quite charming. But yeah, that's one of many movies that have moved yet again. Unhinged, the movie that was going to reopen cinemas on July 1st, was then moved to July 31st, and now it's August ? We don't have, but that is coinciding with AMC moving its opening date. AMC is, of course, the largest theater chain in the country. Mulan has been pushed indefinitely. All the avatars have all been pushed by a year. And wasn't Avatar 2, like, it's been like 14 years, I want to say, since the first Avatar. Like, Avatar 2 keeps getting moved for various reasons that are not COVID related anyway.
Yeah, even before all this, it was already kind of bouncing around the calendar.
Yeah. Top Gun 2 and Quiet Place 2 both got pushed to 2021. So a lot of that, and it just keeps getting pushed down the road. And
yeah, what about Tenet? Pushed indefinitely.
Right. Tenet indefinitely, right. Yeah. And I just don't even believe that Tenet is a real movie at this point. I think Nolan is pranking us.
It's an elaborate concept.
Elizabeth Debicki is in on it. They're all in on it. Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, I continue to scoff at this stuff. And when I do so, it doesn't mean that I'm not dying to be able to go back into a movie theater and dying to have the world in a place where going to the movies becomes an activity that happens again. But I just think the studios have been ridiculously optimistic for quite some time now, and it's been very clear on all other fronts that, you know, this country is doing a shit job managing this pandemic. And as such, you know, we've been saying all along that all these projections about July and even August were just ridiculously optimistic. And so when I roll my eyes at it, I'm rolling my eyes at corporate think, not at, I don't want anybody to fail. I don't want the movies not to happen, but I just have a terrifying vision of where we are right now. And you know, this is having a ripple effect on the rest of the world. You know, we're starting to see other countries that handled this better than we did returning to something akin to normalcy, you know, Germany and France and Vietnam and some other places where schools are opening or whatever because they've, you know, got their numbers down. New Zealand, obviously, you know, all these places did a great job. And sadly, you know, this disruption in the pipeline, you know, is going to interfere with global cinema because so much of it comes out of Hollywood. I hope it's an opportunity for maybe other countries to suddenly step up to the plate with their stuff and, like, you know, sell French audiences on French movies, for instance. You know, I'm starting to see Up TV, which is one of the, you know, channels here that is sort of, you know, Hallmark light in terms of like dealing with, you know, family friendly broadcasting. They're starting to show like shows from Australia, you know, which is not something that they've done before. So, you know, there is a vacuum forming where the U.S. production pipeline is closed and the U.S. exhibition pipeline is closed. And so I'm wondering what's going to come in to fill that spot for other countries. Yeah, other countries are probably going to wind up seeing Tenet first.
Right. They're talking about a non-traditional release platform strategy that it may have to open internationally first. And, you know, 50% of the gross of Nolan's films traditionally has come overseas anyway.
They're getting the new Gerard Butler before we are now. Did you guys see that announcement? Greenland? Greenland is gonna open in other countries first.
They're gonna open first in Greenland.
Yeah, it's gonna open in Iceland, just to confuse people.
Greenland.
I feel like Greenland is on the release schedule for like 2 weeks from now. Anyway,
yeah,
we'll get
is.
to it when we get to it.
So one thing I want to talk about. Sorry, I want to add to this discussion really quick. Because I think it's somewhat related. You're seeing a bunch of these studios keep moving movies back because they don't want to admit that, you know, they don't want to run the risk of not being able to put things in theaters, right? Except for Universal, which has said like, we'll go VOD first, right? And in light of that, it's totally
not for
in line
Fast
with,
9 though.
Well, but it's totally in line with Universal to have said just, I think today they announced that there will not be Halloween Horror Nights at Universal City Walk here in LA, and I don't think in Florida either. And that's October, right? And so they've already canceled it for months from now, which is totally in line with their attitude towards, you know, releasing movies other than, say, Fast 9. But everybody else, like Disney, like, well, we're going to try and open the parks. And yeah, it's still.
But there's news on that front as well. Disney World now says you cannot walk and eat at the same time. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. No, you can't. Not at Disney World.
Anyway, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I have an update on Greenland. This just posted like within the last couple of hours. It is opening in Belgium on July 29th, France on August 5th, and Scandinavia August 12th. It's currently slated for the U.S. for September 25th.
Interesting. They love Gerard Butler overseas. He's huge in Scandinavia.
I would hope so.
Anyway, so Disney World, in trying to mitigate like people getting around the whole mask thing, like walking around, they don't want you to like eat your churro or whatever it is on the way to It's a Small World. You got to like sit and eat like a respectable, civilized human being, and then put your mask on, and then go get in line for an hour.
Because of course, closing the park and keeping.
Oh heavens, no!
Oh no!
Speaking of Disney, there is a show coming out starting July 31st called Muppets Now. It is an unscripted series involving the Muppets. It's 6 episodes, and it's people like RuPaul and Seth Rogen and Taye Diggs and Aubrey Plaza. And
yeah, I got links. I haven't watched. Has anybody watched it yet?
No, it was cute.
Cause so is it, the idea is that it's a scripted show that is pretending to be a reality show, or is it actually unscripted? Like, what's going on?
Are the people in the puppets making shit up as they go along?
That's my question. Yeah.
I mean, they require more coordination.
Are they improvising in character? That seems real difficult.
But there's a history of those guys improvising in character. They would totally do that. I mean, even if you watch, if you know what you're looking for and knowing what it's like to work with kids, when you watch Sesame Street, like you see.
Oh, well, sure. Yeah.
No, but seriously, right? So, adding that kind of improv comedy. I mean, when I was still Rotten Tomatoes, we did a 5 favorite films with Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
And the guy who was voicing Kermit called in, right? And one of Kermit's 5 favorite films was Deliverance. And he said, there's a pig in it.
Wow, Kermit pushing boundaries. Who knew? Okay, so many things to catch you guys up on. We've talked about Kanye West a few times here as far as whether he's running for president or not. I gave wrong information last week when I saw on Twitter that according to his campaign manager, he was not running anymore. Apparently he still is running because he had this very strange rally in South Carolina. And it prompted a great deal of concern about his mental well-being to such an extent that Kim Kardashian actually posted something on Instagram stories, explaining Kanye is bipolar, and that can mean that he's a thrilling presence to be around and a creative genius, but he also struggles, and that's what we're seeing. And so asking for it actually was kind of a classy move on her part. She said asking for empathy and kindness and compassion in this moment for somebody who is clearly struggling. So
I think for a while now it's been clear that he is grappling with issues, and I kind of wish, like somebody was on Twitter was saying, look, if you're not covering the guy yelling on the D train, like, don't cover this rally. I think the compassionate thing to do would be to sort of step back and like not add fuel to what is clearly like something that he's working through. I don't know. It's disconcerting to see this sort of thing playing out on a global stage.
It is, and I can totally also see how in the drive to cover what seems to matter culturally, if you ignore this, are you remiss?
I suppose.
It's a hard line to walk. You don't want to seem like you're exploiting someone in a delicate state, and yet he's Kanye West, and he's a global superstar running for president. He's on the ballot in Oklahoma, I want to say.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think it was already too late to be on the ballot in the state where he had the rally. Is that correct?
I don't think he's on the ballot in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay. Other music news. There's a new Taylor Swift album.
Yes.
It just came out last night. There was a video for the first single, which I don't know if you guys watched it. I sent to you two.
I didn't watch it yet.
Called Cardigan. And it's really beautiful. And she directed it. She wrote and directed it. And the great Rodrigo Prieto, legendary cinematographer from Mexico, he shot it. It's gorgeous. He shot The Irishman.
Yeah.
And he shot Taylor Swift's
Brokeback
video.
Mountain.
I think that's really cool. A 3-time Oscar nominee, Rodrigo Prieto. Nice. And we've talked on the show before, early on in the very beginning stages of quarantine, about what kind of art will come of isolation. What will creative people do with their time? How will they express that sense of feeling detached? What will come out of it? And We also talk about the possibility of production occurring within the quarantine.
Right.
At the end of this video, which is absolutely beautiful, and it tells a story, and it is cinematic. And to put an exclamation point on the cinematic nature of her video, there are credits that roll. The whole crew gets nice. A shout out there, and she explains with the title card at the very end. We adhered to strict COVID-19 safety protocols, and it's interesting that she's the only person in it. It's her playing the piano, and right. she goes inside the piano and outside the piano into the water, and there are visual effects in this video. Nice. So it's kind of fascinating to see that we're now beginning to see the fruits of people exploring their creativity while being cooped up.
Speaking of production crew stuff, I have to fix my lighting, so I'm going to turn my camera off.
You don't have Rodrigo Prieto lighting your Zoom box.
No, I do not.
The other big music news is that Kylie Minogue's new video dropped this week for her disco album that is coming out in November. It's called Disco, and it is upbeat dance music. And, I think it's another way of sort of dealing with the global mood right now, which is like, we need something upbeat and fun. And so it's a great song, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of it goes.
Well, she went the opposite direction of Taylor Swift then, whose songs are kind of like storytelling, and it's more of like a low-key kind of 70s vibe. The album is called Folklore, so it's a more like low-key, stripped-down thing.
That's the only song I've heard from it. I have heard people throw the word bluegrass around in describing it, so...
Supposedly it's great. I mean, and I'm not a giant Taylor Swift fan. I appreciate her songwriting, certainly, but this comes from a different place, I guess, in terms of songwriting. It's not about her and her breakups and her family and her life. It's about other people.
Well, I bet it's a little bit about her.
She started doing country music, wasn't she?
Originally, yes. It's funny, like, because when this all broke, I was like, I liked that documentary about her. I think she's interesting as a personage, but it's not music that I was going to go chase down. But you sent me that video, and I looked at it, and I'm glad I did.
It's lovely, yes. ABBA. Apparently, I've been pronouncing ABBA wrong my whole life. Is
ABBA.
It ABBA?
I believe
short
it's ABBA.
A. All right, whatever. They're going to release 5 new songs in 2021, right? Supposedly, there's only going to be a couple of songs. Now it's 5 songs. Their last album was in 1982.
Yes. We have been promised new ABBA material for a long time. So at this point, I will believe it when I hear it. But if it happens, that'll be great. I'm psyched.
We need ABBA now more than ever. Billy Eichner is going to play Paul Lynde in a biopic called Man in the Box. And I find this very interesting because it seems like if he's going to take on that character, it's not going to necessarily, I'm hoping it's not going to be like paint by numbers biopic, that maybe it'll go into darker places, more interesting places.
Paul Lynde had definitely had a dark side. If you read, like, there was a memoir, or not a memoir, there was a biography of him a while back that was really good. But yeah, like, he was kind of an angry alcoholic, and he definitely was sort of pigeonholed by Hollywood at that time because they loved him doing the one thing that they let him do, but that was the thing they let him do. So yeah, he's an interesting figure. He is from a time where, like, queer people were just not. We're basically, if you were lucky, if you were as talented as Paul Lynde, then you were tolerated and your presence was allowed on television. But you definitely couldn't talk about your life. You couldn't have any kind of like public, private life. And, you certainly were trapped in a box, as he literally was on the Hollywood squares. So,
yes.
I think it's an interesting story to tell. Eichner is an interesting casting choice. I look forward to seeing how that goes.
Me too. Here's something that I'm not looking forward to, and that is a Grease prequel called Summer Lovin'. It's in the works.
Oil.
It's the It is the summer that Sandy and Danny met before they then ended up at Rydell High, mortified to see each other. So
I guess they'll go bowling and splash around. Like, who cares? Who cares? But I've learned never to completely discount something, because obviously there's so little in it that has to be in it that gives them a lot of room to do whatever else they want. So if they get the right people and they come up with something else to happen in that movie, maybe that'll be great. But, on paper, do we need this? No.
I want to see them strolling, drinking lemonade. Yes.
Exactly. There will be goddamn lemonade in that movie.
I guess they can stray beyond the lyrics of the song.
They better. It's going to be a 5-minute movie.
That is a thing that's in the works. You guys should know that Paw Patrol is not canceled. There was some there was some misinformation from the White House press briefing today.
Okay, walk me through this one because I don't know this story at all.
Okay, so Kayleigh McEnany today, the White House press secretary, was going off about cancel culture. Culture.
Right.
And how Cops has been canceled and Lego is no longer making their little city boxes that have police officers in them. And Paw Patrol was canceled. And there was this whole massive backlash on Twitter like, hello, I just watched Paw Patrol with my kids this morning. Paw Patrol is not canceled. Chase is still on the case. Rubble is still on the double. It's going to be okay. Anyway, so you should. I want to clear that up here because we are a source of entertainment information, if nothing else. Paw Patrol lives.
Everybody, calm down.
Have we? What's amongst the things on the ever-growing list of what's infuriating is that people that fuck up and apologize that don't have a history of fucking up don't get canceled. It's the people that are consistently assholes that get canceled. And then they complain. So maybe, just maybe, don't be an asshole all the time.
The idea of cancel culture is people who, generally people in the media who make a living opining about what other people do and having takes on it, being very furious that the non-professionals suddenly have takes on them.
There you go.
Basically.
But if you tune into Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol is still there. I enjoyed teasing my child because when he was very little, he used to watch Paw Patrol. And it's such an easy way to get him all riled up. Like, I don't watch Paw Patrol, Mom.
Yeah, my nephews are still super into Paw Patrol.
When he's in college, he will get a Ringer tee with Paw Patrol on it.
Right.
And it will come
yeah, Gabe was not. Gabe was too old for that. Gabe was Backyardigans.
Mm-hmm.
Backyardigans was big with Gabe. And then Phineas and Ferb.
Phineas and Ferb is still great.
Which is getting a movie. They're getting
Yes, August 28th. Vincent Martella, friend of the show.
Yeah.
Lovely guy. Here, speaking of assholes, Mel Gibson apparently had COVID in April and was hospitalized for a week. And now he's tested negative.
Well, I'm glad he's feeling better.
It's just interesting. Like there was that whole wave of like celebrities that got it. Tom Hanks, Idris Elba.
I was saying, was this also in Australia? Did he have it, or was he here?
I don't know. Good question. But it's just interesting that we're now 4 months later finding out that Mel Gibson had COVID.
Interesting.
Other news in sports news. Here's your favorite part of the day, guys. When I talk about sports,
please tell us everything.
To the show, I'm wearing my Dodgers T-shirt. I'll show you the back of it if you're looking at YouTube. It's my old school Fernando Valenzuela shirt, my childhood hero, Fernando Valenzuela. So it was opening night last night, and there were a couple of games. It was Yankees, Nationals, and Giants, Dodgers. Dodgers won 8-1. And what both teams did at the beginning of both games was they all took a knee. Before the anthem played, it was this great show of solidarity. I didn't see the whole pregame thing of the Yankees game, but in the Dodgers game, they had a whole thing on the Jumbotron, a whole Black Lives Matter video that played with various Black baseball players talking about the need to stand up and be unified and speak out about social injustice. It's great. And then they did the anthem, and several people kneeled during the anthem, including Mookie Betts, who now plays for the Dodgers, who has signed this crazy contract. Will keep him with the Dodgers for like 13 years. He's black. He kneeled, and Max Muncy and Cody Bellinger on either side of him stood up, but they each put a hand on his shoulder, like in a show of unity with him. Gabe Kapler, the Giants manager, kneeled. And so you're seeing, I think it's interesting to see how baseball is taking a stand on this because it's not traditionally a sport in which they have, right? Of all the sports we have, it is the most quote unquote traditionally American,
pastime.
right? It's the most American, most patriotic. So I'll be curious to see, as different sports leagues grind into gear in their own makeshift ways, how will this manifest itself?
Good. Because, look, we have a president that is skittering us closer to fascism every day. So the more that people from the world of things like baseball and NASCAR, who cannot be accused of being coastal elites or out of touch with everyday Americans, or like lefty commie pinko sympathizers, will stand up to this nonsense, then the better it is for all of us as a nation.
Yes, along those lines, the Redskins have temporarily changed their name. They are now Washington Football Team.
Okay, this is such bullshit. And I'll tell you why.
Tell me why.
They're selling another set of merch.
No, it's worse than that. It's worse than that. This is owner Dan Snyder allowing assholes to still, look, people will still call that team the Redskins, but giving them what some people will think is plausible deniability by saying, well, there's not some new name, right? Like there is, look, I get that with soccer in Europe, there is, and other places around the world, there's a long history of not having a team name outside of the location and then football club or whatever, right? But that's extremely rare in American sports. And I don't think that it is an unconscious decision that way. I think it's like, you know what? We're just not going to name it anything so that Snyder and cronies and people who want to still be bigots can kind of say like, well, there's not a new name, so I could still like.
I think it's a placeholder, Matt. I think it's just like they knew they had to do something. And people who apparently there's one guy who was snapped up like the rights to a bunch of potential names that would have been like great fits, and he's like, offering to sell them to the team. So I think it's just, they needed to do something in the immediate.
But I've read about that guy. I've read about that guy, and that guy's a fan, and that guy was doing it from a fan's perspective and was basically saying, like, at least in the news story I read, was like, for season tickets, sure, I'll give you whatever you want, right? A NFL team absolutely has the money to buy a name from somebody that's squatting on something.
Yeah.
They absolutely do.
For sure.
I think that this is, I don't buy that this is like, yes, I understand they need to do a placeholder, but I think that I realize that this sounds somewhat paranoid and super cynical, but I think that this is, from the guy who said that he will never change the name, this is his way of kind of like doing the least possible by saying, okay, well, then we just won't name it anything for now. Maybe in the hopes that there's some resurgence that comes down the line. Like he's kicking the can down the curb as much as he can for now.
They're going to keep the same. Yeah, they're going to keep the same colors, and the players are going to have their numbers on their helmet instead of any kind of logo. Kind of like Alabama, the players have their numbers on their helmets, so it's like that. Anyway, so that is a thing. Also, the expansion hockey team in Seattle has a name. There's a new NHL team, a 32nd NHL team. They are called the Seattle Kraken. As in release
the Kraken.
Yeah.
And their fans will be crackheads?
Yeah, that was on Twitter. That was the joke. They'll be crackheads. I guess this is the total fan favorite name. Is like they pondered 1,200 different names.
Bodie McBoatface didn't win.
Listen, this team names go. Kraken's not bad.
No.
Well, and the logo
Let's
is
get
cool.
Krakens.
Right. The logo is cool. It has like the in the S, it looks like a snake, and like there's like a little red eye at the top of it, so it looks like an eye of a creature. There's like a big tentacle that goes through the S. I guess there were 1,200 different names they pondered, but Kraken from the very beginning had this massive fan groundswell behind it when they first announced in December of 2018 that there was going to be a team in Seattle. So it sounds mean and cool. It's like,
sure, well, it's more intimidating than a mighty duck,
That's true. That's like
or
the worst
penguin.
hockey name. That's the worst name ever. They're good.
Penguins are good on the ice, at least.
Where did I don't know. Have you seen a penguin walk? Come on.
Good.
Where
Look
is
at that
snowman
leg
on the
between their
list?
legs, you know?
The snowmen.
The Seattle snowman?
They're not a very mobile creature, the snowmen.
That's true.
Anyway, so there
They
is
couldn't
that
just
Sunday.
they couldn't just do what Washington was doing. Seattle hockey team.
Yeah.
You don't want the acronym for that, though.
I was going to say that looks like shit.
Oh, speaking of which, I wish I had the picture for this. I saw some photo that came up on my feed the other day that was a furniture store that was the Shack of Sit.
What?
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Instead of sack of shit.
I get
The
it.
Shack of Sit.
I get it. Okay. Interesting. I have
Clever.
a few more things for you. This is a
Yes.
couple weeks old. Have you guys seen that cute thing? It's on Quibi, but it's also on YouTube. It's like this very makeshift version of The Princess Bride.
I know that it exists, but I haven't watched it.
The one that all the stars were reading?
Yeah, it's cute. It's like Patton Oswalt and John Hamm and Dave Bautista and David Spade and Finn Wolfhard and Caitlin Dever, and it's clearly like they clearly all shot their own individual parts. It begins with Jack Black as Wesley and Diego Luna as Inigo Montoya. As they do like the key scenes that you like, and they do the lines that everyone loves, but like they all shot their own individual parts, obviously, and it's like intentionally kind of rough-hewn and kind of imperfect. Like, so they're using lightsabers and umbrellas for their sword duels. It's really cute. It's funny. Jason Reitman directed it, and it's a fundraiser for Chef Jose Andres's World Central Kitchen. So it's cute. And you don't have to get Quibi to watch it. It's on YouTube also. So that's
speaking of fundraisers for Jose Andres's organization, have you all seen the Happy Endings reunion on YouTube?
No.
The sitcom Happy Endings is
I heard about it.
It was really good.
On the lines of professionals doing group videos, have you seen the stunt performers one?
No.
So there's a video that'll come up on YouTube, and I'll see if I can find one and link to it in the comments. A bunch of stunt. Yeah. So like somebody will throw a punch at the camera, and then the next shot is that person getting punched and then like collecting themselves and doing another punch or kick or something.
It's
super fun. Yeah, maybe it's a TikTok
thing.
Yeah.
It's very cute. Let me see what else. I think I had like one happy good thing to end on. Oh, this is not a happy good thing, but Anna Camp was the rare famous woman to be diagnosed with COVID. She said that she didn't wear a mask one time, she said, and then she got it.
Yeah.
Oh God. Well, wishing her well.
Yeah. So she's doing better, but she used her Instagram platform, all her platforms, to say wear a mask, because I didn't wear a mask one time and I got it. Oh, I forgot. I had one more piece of sports news for you. The Blue Jays are going to play in Buffalo because Canada is not letting them play. Canada's not letting anyone come into Toronto or play. They don't want American teams to go into Canada and infect Canada.
And who?
So they're gonna take their ball and not go home.
Yes. So they're now the Buffalo.
Taking my ball and leaving home.
Speaking of Anna's, we lost Annie Ross this week, by the way, of the legendary vocal group Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross. And she had a fascinating film career that included Superman 3, Basket Case 2, and Robert Altman's Shortcuts.
Ooh.
Yeah, Annie Ross was great. Look up the song Twisted if you're not familiar with it. That's probably one of the best performances she did. She actually, at the formation of Lambert, Hendricks, and Ross, there was another female singer that was going to be in there with her, and she like talked the guys out of like, no, she doesn't want to do it. She got her kicked out.
Yeah, she told the other woman it's not working out. The guys,
it's not working out, and they were like, what happened? Years later, she's like, I wanted to be the only girl.
I found the one last piece of happy news I want to show us.
Make it happy.
On a happy note, there is now a Leonard Maltin game.
Yes!
There is a board game called
coming out in September.
King of Movies, the Leonard Maltin game. This was announced at the online Comic-Con, September 20th. It's available to you. You get to pretend to be a film critic, and the whole point is that you don't need to have seen the movie in question or any movie ever. You lie and you make up what you think the movie is about, and people have to try to
it's like Balderdash, but instead of making up definitions for words, you make up like plot lines of movies as they would have appeared in the Leonard Maltin guide.
Can I share
that's so great, Leonard.
Can I share a piece of Schadenfreude news from Comic-Con?
Why not?
Sure.
During the live stream of the Star Trek panel, the overzealous CBS IP protection on YouTube blanked the panel for 20 minutes.
That's a bummer.
I love that because Dave and I were we do a Facebook Live every Sunday for one of the Patreon shows that we do. And we were doing like a jam of the week that we used to do on Pop Rocket. And Dave played literally 30 seconds of the Beyonce Megan Thee Stallion song. And we got shut down. Like the copyright, nanobots like found us and stopped our video. And then later to post it, we had to mute that part or they weren't going to let us post it. That's
everywhere.
Hilarious.
Are we allowed to have even talked about that just now? I don't know. Zoom is far more permissive.
Oh,
very
totally,
fun.
Yeah. It's the Wild West over here.
Anyway, so go get Leonard in box form.
Yes, you can pre-order at the Mondo site right now. So, all right. So thanks everybody for watching. We got new reviews this week. We are wrapping up Love Victor over at our Patreon page. So we hope you'll check that out at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Take care of yourselves and each other. Have a good week. We'll see you next time. Bye.